Welcome to another edition of the Market Reporters with my colleague Martin and myself, Kaspar. Every week we look back and we talk with you about what happened in the market and most of the questions that you as an investor asked us. If we go back, this was quite a special week again with, I think almost all the markets went up. Almost every day they went up.
Yeah.
And that's despite, we know, I think, what the main reason is. Martin, can you help me out with that?
Support packages and of course also the last push basically on Friday with the positive unemployment figures.
Yeah, that's also from the US.
From the US, yeah.
Yeah, and so the support packages, the bond buy programs from the ECB the day before in Germany. Yeah. And that's despite a lot of negative news there is in the market, especially in the US. Over the weekend, last weekend, the tensions became a little bit less between China and the US about Hong Kong. Yeah. I think it's still not solved over there, not at all, but it's a little bit on the background. And I think also the news was coming from the US this week about all the riots and really terrible news, several things that are happening there. But the market has a really positive glasses on at the moment and they see everything positive. So that's a little bit back. Also a lot of clients that have positions with us in Berkshire Hathaway, or they have the fund itself, the investment fund of Warren Buffett, or they have an CFD or another product on it. And what you see this year, because normally Warren Buffett, through all the decades, he's doing very well. He's outperforming almost all the indices. And
not this year.
No, until now he is doing.
Well, the year's not done yet.
No, not well. His quarterly figures were not good. That was, of course, also because that was already a part of the coronavirus was in there. Right. And at the moment, what you see, the S&P is still 5% down since the beginning of this year.
Berkshire?
And Berkshire Hathaway is around 18% down. So that's quite a gap. Yeah. So a lot of the people, they ask us, is it interesting now to step in, or they have a position in it and they think, okay, should I change something? And I think then it's good to make one extra step. And you see, first you want to know, why is it performing less than...
Yeah, he did quite some changes, I think, also. Huh?
Yeah. Sometimes he sits still on his hands and sometimes he moves, and this is a period where he moves more than normally. And one important reason is why the fund is going down, has been going down so much, because his holdings for more than 60 billion in 10 different banks.
US banks.
Yeah, and I think all the investors know that especially banks this year, they are performing not good. So that's a big pressure.
And he also had a lot of airlines, didn't he?
Yeah, he had 4 main positions in airline companies, US airline companies, but he sold them.
Yeah, that's what
He's back to zero, and he's in there not that long since.
So he took the hit of the market going down, and then eventually.
Yeah, because he is only in those airline companies from 2016, and that's so short term. And he sold them all. He is back on zero, and so he's not gaining the profits since the airline companies worldwide went up around May.
Because I didn't think he reinvested the money, did he?
You don't know that exactly, so probably not. But he was already cash for a big part in the beginning of this year.
130. We touched it here in the office when we had the seminars that Warren Buffett is, what was it, 20%?
$130 billion he had in cash. Yeah. So that's a little bit the last week, and some questions that we heard a lot. And you, Martin, what did you hear?
Yeah, specifically about the tech sector. No, so I dove into the platform this morning and had a look on what is actually happening in that specific sector. And of course, we all know that Apple, and maybe you don't know, but Apple is nearly almost at the highest point even before Corona, and so that's really hard to explain to people, because a lot of people lose their jobs, a lot of unemployment. You read this morning in the newspaper, 36% of all the Spanish people spent all their savings. So it's horrible scenarios that are developing. But if we look at this...
By the way, sorry to interrupt you, but Berkshire Hathaway also has a big position in Apple.
Yeah. So that at least compensated a little bit.
Yeah.
So I looked in what is happening, and then for us, we like to look fundamentally to stocks, and you sit there, an important measure point is the price earnings. And what you see basically is that the average price earning of the big five, so the FANG, they also called it, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix and Google, they're all above way above 25. Apple has actually the lowest price earning, 25. So a lot of people ask, are there still interesting tech stocks? And it's of course difficult for us to say yes there are not, but I came up with a company, I found a company, High Precision, and it's a company that has a price earning now at 8, and you possibly never heard of it, but 34% of all the consumer electronic in the world are fabricated in the factories of High Precision. So it's a pretty interesting company to just have a look at, because Samsung uses them for manufacturing, Apple uses them, Sony uses them. So there's a lot of companies use or parts of High Precision to manufacture.
And do you know why they are still down? Because they are still down this year, no?
They're actually listed on the London Stock Exchange. So they were at £6. They went down to 3.5, and they're back up at 5.24. So they are recuperating.
Yeah, but for example, not that much as Apple did.
No, not as much. No, that's possibly because they.
Yeah, it's also maybe because Apple is much more popular. Everybody knows Apple, and it's a big company, and large investors, they normally have the intention to go into larger stocks in this kind of period.
Exactly.
So it can be interesting, definitely.
Yeah, especially and if you look at other, if you look at all the tech companies, the lowest price earning at this moment, what I could find was Panasonic, 7.5, followed by Dell Computers, and then if you look at the other big phone producer, which is Samsung, has a price earning of about 15. So a lot of difference within the tech sector. It's very interesting. If you are interested in tech, just have a look, have a screening. If you don't know how to do it, call us and we help you to do it with you.
Yeah, and these are more producers of products.
Of products, yeah.
Not only online.
Not only online business.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you next week.